Hi everyone. In the previous tutorials, we talked about list collection in Apex and we also talked about set collection in Apex. Now it's time to talk about the last collection, which is the map collection in Apex. Let's get started. First of all, we need to know what is a map. A map is a collection of key value pairs where each unique key maps to a single value. Okay. So these are the main, I can say, key points here. So the first point is that it is a collection of key value pairs. So you will have a key. So let's say you will have a collection like this, and here you will have a key, and corresponding to that key, you will have a value. And then you will have a key, and then you will have a value. Okay. So this is called a map. Then it says each unique key. So all the keys are going to be unique. For example, let's say if you are having a key, let's say 1, okay, and with respect to that you have a value 10, and then you have a key 2, and with respect to that you have a value 20. Okay, so each key is going to be unique. There cannot be another one key with respect to which you have a value 30, let's say. Okay, so this is not possible. You will have a unique key always. Key is always unique, and each unique key maps to a single value, because keys are unique. So there can be only one entry for one particular key, and one entry will map only to a single value. It is not possible that for key 1 you have 10 as a value as well as you have 20 as a value. So this is not possible. So one unique key will only map to one particular value. For example, if I talk about 1, it will map only to 10, and if I talk about 2, it will map only to 20. So this is what map is all about. After that, we say values inside a map can be of any data type. It can be primitive data type, it can be collections, it can be S objects, and it can be custom data types as well. It is similar to what we have heard in case of list as well as set. Now let's see how we can create a map and how we can perform basic operations inside a map. In order to create a map, now as we know that it will consist of key value pairs, right? So what we need to do, we need to specify the data type of key as well as the data type of value that we want to store inside our map. So we can create a map like this, map, and then angle brackets. And within the angle brackets, we need to specify what is the data type for key and what is the data type for value. So I'm creating a map named as students map here. So I'm saying map of integer and string students map is equal to new map of integer and string. As simple as that. Now what I need to do, I need to add values to my map, right? So in case of list and in case of set, we used to have the add function, using which we can add any value to our list and set. In case of map, we have the put function. So what we can do, we can say we have the name of the map, and then we are calling the put function here. And inside the put function, we are passing two values separated by comma. The first value is nothing but the key. So this is the key. And the second value is going to be the value for that particular key inside the map. So if you see here in the students map, first of all, we are storing student number 1, or I can say roll number 1, with the name Richard Hendricks. Second student is student number 2 with the name Dinesh. So we can say it's a map of students where the keys are nothing but the roll numbers and the values are nothing but the name of the students. One more thing to notice here is we can also have a null key inside a map. So it is also possible to have a key as null inside a map, and that will also map to a single value which we specify. After that, what I have done, I have simply displayed that map right here. So I say value of students map is equal to students map, and finally I'm using the size function here as well, like we did in case of list and set, to find out how many elements are present inside the map. So dot size will tell us how many elements in total are present inside the map. So if you see here, this is the first element, this is the second element, this is the third entry, this is the fourth entry, this is the fifth element, and this is the sixth element. So size should come as 6 for our case. Let's execute the code till here and let's see how it works. So I'm going to execute the code from here till here. This is what we are getting in the output. So the first output is value of students map is equal to this whole map. So value of students map is equal to, now if you see, we have the curly braces, and inside these curly braces we have the key is equal to, and then we have the value. So we have null as the key and the value is Jared Dunn. Then we have 1 as the key and the value is Richard Hendricks. Then we have 2 as the key and the value is Dinesh. Then we have 3 as the key and the value is Guilfoyle. Similarly, we have 4 as the key, which is this one, 4. So 4 is the key and the value is Alec Bachman. And then we have 5 as the key and the value is Monica. And if you see, the total number of elements which are present inside student's map is equal to 6. Like we discussed, there are 6 elements which we are adding to our map. One thing which we can check here is, let's say if I jumble the entries. So let's say if I add 3 first, and then we add 5, and then we add 1, 2, and then we add 4. And let's execute this code to see what will happen. So if you see, earlier we were adding these values in an ordered fashion. So we were adding the roll number 1 first, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. Although null was still at the end, but if you notice, first of all, we have the null key, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's see what is the case. So if you see now, even if we put 3 inside the map first, and then 5, and then 1, and then 2, it is still coming in an ordered fashion. So null is the first entry, which is mapped to Jared Dunn. Then we have entry for roll number 1. Then we have entry for roll number 2. And then we have it for 3. Then we have it for 4. And then we have it for 5. So what we can identify from this thing, we can identify that keys inside a map are stored in ascending order. This is not necessarily always the case, I would say, because it is not specified anywhere in the documentation. But we can say that keys of map are stored like a set, because set values are automatically stored in the ascending order, right? That is what we have noticed, although that is also not present anywhere or mentioned anywhere in the documentation, to be specific. But we can consider that, the keys are kind of stored like set inside a map, which is why they are coming automatically in ascending order. You should not rely on it as a property, but I'm just telling you about this so that we can consider it as an observation. Let's move ahead. Now, how can we get a value from a map? We know that we are storing keys and values inside a map, right? So in order to get a particular value, we need to find out, or we need to know what is the key for that particular value. For example, let's say if I want to get Guilfoyle from the map. Now I know that the key for Guilfoyle is 3. So what I can do, I can say students map dot get, and then I can pass the key inside the get function. So this particular code will give me the value from the map for key 3. So wherever the key is 3, it will find out what is the value corresponding to that particular key, which is this one, and it will return me this particular value. So we can use the get function to extract a value for a particular key from the map. Similarly, we can override the values as well. So as we know that, keys are unique. So each unique key can have only one value. So let's say I want to store some new value for that particular key. So I can say that, for this particular key, that is 3, instead of Guilfoyle, I want to store a new value. So what I can do, I can use the put function like we were using earlier. So if you notice, earlier also we were using the put function. I can use the same put function and I can specify a new value for my existing key as well. So I can say, now I want to put on key number 3 a new value, which is Gavin Belson. So instead of having Guilfoyle, we'll replace it with Gavin Belson. After that, what I'm doing in this code, I'm displaying the value again, or I can say I'm extracting the value of key 3 again from my map using the get function, and I'm also displaying the whole map for reference. Let's execute the code till here and let's see what happens. Now if you see, this was our initial map, which is coming from here, and here we have 6 values. Null is equal to Jared Dunn, 1 is equal to Richard Hendricks, then 2 is equal to Dinesh, 3 is equal to Guilfoyle, 4 is equal to Alec Bachman, and 5 is equal to Monica. And total number of elements inside a student's map is 6. Then we are trying to get the value from the map which has a key as 3. So we are passing 3 as the key, and we are saying, give me the value corresponding to this particular key, which is 3. So I can say student with roll number 3, student with roll number 3 is equal to nothing but Guilfoyle. So it is coming out as Guilfoyle because inside our map, we have Guilfoyle mapped with this particular key, which is 3. Then what we are doing, we are assigning a new name to roll number 3. So we are saying students map dot put 3. So I can say corresponding to my key 3, I want to put a new value which is Gavin Belson. So I'm saying assigning a new name to roll number 3. This is done. And then what I'm doing, I'm again saying student with roll number 3 is equal to, so I'm again using the get function to get the value corresponding to key which is 3. And this time it should come as Gavin Belson, right? So I'm saying student with roll number 3 is equal to, and if you see this time it is coming as Gavin Belson. So this code and this code is exactly the same. But earlier we had Guilfoyle stored corresponding to key number 3, which is why we are getting the value as Guilfoyle. Now we replace the value with respect to key 3 as Gavin Belson. And if we try to extract the value corresponding to key 3 again, we are getting it as Gavin Belson. And after that, I have displayed the whole map again for reference. And if you see this time, if I go to key number 3, we are getting the value here as Gavin Belson. All the other values are exactly the same, but the value corresponding to key number 3 is updated as Gavin Belson. Now let's move ahead. So the last thing that we are going to check today is that how can we remove value from a map. So we also have a remove function like we had in set, right? And using this function, we can remove the value from a map. So here I am saying I want to remove the value corresponding to key 3. And then I'm saying value of students map after removing student with roll number 3 is equal to this. So I'm displaying the whole map, and I'm also displaying how many elements are now present inside the map. So I hope this is clear, right? We are just using the remove function, and we are passing on the key again to remove the value, or I can say to remove the key value pair corresponding to this particular key. So it will remove this whole part. Let's execute the code and let's see what happens. So I'm going to execute the whole code from top till bottom right here. Now if I scroll down here, you can see at the end I'm doing students map dot remove 3. So initially I had 6 elements. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third element, this is the fourth element which has a key 3 and value Guilfoyle, fifth element and sixth element. And at the end what I did, so after this statement, value of students map is equal to all these values when I replace it with Gavin Belson. So after this statement, what I did, I removed the value with key 3. Okay. And I'm saying value of students map after removing student with roll number 3 is equal to, so value of students map after removing student with roll number 3 is equal to, so we have Jared Dunn, we have Richard Hendricks, we have Dinesh, we have Alec Bachman, and we have Monica. So we don't have any value with key number 3 here, right? Because we removed the value, or I can say we removed the whole pair with key 3. Therefore, the total number of elements that are present inside a student map now are 5. So earlier we had 6 elements, right? Because we had this Guilfoyle with key 3. But now we removed the element with key 3. So we are getting the total number of elements inside the map is 5. I hope this part is clear to you. And in this video, we discussed about some of the common operations that we can perform on a map and how we can declare a map. So it is very simple. It is just storing the data in the form of key value pairs. And we can use the get function to get a particular value based on the key. We can use the put function to put a new value corresponding to a particular key. And we can use the size function to find out the total number of values or elements which are present inside the map. And we can also use the remove function to remove a particular key value pair from the map. So that's all for this tutorial. And I think the homework for you here is to create a map of something else. Maybe create a map of string, or to create a map of string or boolean, something like that, you know. And let me know how it goes for you in the comments down below. Also, let me know your feedback in the comments down below. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you next time.